Greetings. This is Doc Ock coming at you live and direct from Black Facts Headquarters Central today, actually tonight, in beautiful downtown Kent, Ohio. We black in the saddle, and we about to shake, then we're gonna rattle, then we're gonna roll while we stroll on patrol, looking for the best way to get you involved in the process. And tonight what we like to do is to have you go ahead and give us a like if you're watching us on Facebook, give us a thumbs up if you're watching us on YouTube, and then go ahead and spread the word far and wide all across the earth about what we're doing right here on the Black Facts channel, because we're about to give birth to something that's coming straight out of Mother Earth. And that is another one of Marcus Garvey's sayings from his, nope, take it back. We're going to come out of this other book over here. I almost forgot. We got our African American Book of Values. Let's see what we find over here. See what we got for today. All right. Now, this one's going to be a little harder than usual, but it should still be appropriate. This is called Inferior Stock by Dick Gregory. With his piercing wit, Dick Gregory, entertainer and 1968 candidate for U.S. president, helped change the face of stage comedy in the 1960s. He let his audiences know how black folks really felt about racism and racists. Here, he sets the record straight on the myth of black inferiority. White America has curiously become the victim of the very myths it has created. It is one thing to tell a lie and quite another thing to believe it. Since the days of slavery, white mythology has insisted that black people were of inferior stock. But a quick glance at social reality in America will show that white folks do not believe the inferior stock myth. If I marry a woman of any ethnic background, Italian, Chinese, Puerto Rican, Irish, or whatever, a child produced from that union will be considered black in the eyes of white America. The child will be said to have Negro blood, will be considered a Negro, and frequently called a nigger. The same pattern holds true for any black woman who marries a man of any other ethnic background. Black genes are considered so socially, if not biologically dominant, that a child is designated black regardless of the mixture. Does that sound like inferior stock to you? And then we have right behind that from Anonymous, black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. And now we're going to continue on with the story of Marcus Mosiah Garvey. So let's see, we're reading out of this book right over here. There we go. We'll put this one up, bring this one down. And let's see where we left off last night. We were in chapter 3, I believe. Here we go. And we were talking about the only countries that remained in black control at the time of the Berlin Conference of 1884 to 1885. The only black countries that remained in the hands, fully controlled by black people, were Liberia and Ethiopia. The European nations justified their justified their occupation of Africa by claiming that they were bringing civilization and Christianity to godless and backward people, the heathen savages of the dark continent. See, that just sounds bad right there, don't it? The dark continent. The foreign powers' domination of Africa angered Garvey, In London, he met many other blacks who shared his views. The large metropolitan city attracted students and intellectuals from around the British Empire, who, like Garvey, wanted to be near the center of political activity. London also hosted many international conventions. One of them, held 12 years earlier, brought together delegates representing black communities in England, the West Indies, and the United States to discuss how to promote Pan-Africanism. Formed in the late 1800s, the Pan-African movement held as its ideal the belief that blacks throughout the world were one people and that Africa was their common homeland. The members of the movement were devoted to establishing African nations that would be governed by blacks. The leading writers of the Pan-African movement, Henry McNeill Turner, Edward Wilmot Blyden, and J.E. Casely Hayford, had a strong influence on Garvey. More and more he came to believe that blacks throughout the world must unite and wrest Africa from its colonial occupiers. In 1913, Garvey met Dukes Muhammad Ali, the half-Egyptian, half-black publisher of the African Times and Orient Review, a journal committed to fighting for the rights of the native peoples in Africa and Asian colonies. Ali took a liking to the much-traveled Jamaican dock worker and hired him as a messenger. Working for the journal allowed Garvey to continue his political education and to become familiar with the leading spokesmen of the international black community, many of whom wrote for the paper. Garvey himself had one piece published in the journal. In the article, Garvey voiced a demand for greater black participation in the Jamaican government, and he predicted that the West Indians would one day help to unite the race into a mighty empire. Taking a break from work, Garvey writing, working, and studying. Taking a break from his work, writing, and studies, Garvey traveled around Europe, visiting many of those countries whose colonial administrations were supposedly bringing enlightenment to the African people. At the time of Garvey's visit, the political climate in Europe was tense. The major powers had divided into hostile camps and were spending heavily to build up their military forces. Within a year, Great Britain, France, Italy, and Russia would be fighting a horrifyingly destructive war with Germany, Austria, Hungary, and Turkey. This conflict, which began in August 1914, would be known as the Great War, or World War I. After his tour of Europe, Garvey returned to England, probably in late 1913. He might have visited more English cities, finding work where he could. However, his wanderings soon came to an end, for he found a book that stopped him in his tracks and burned its way into his soul. The book was Up From Slavery, and the author was Booker T. Washington, no less than Booker T. Washington himself. The most influential black leader in the United States. Born a slave in Virginia in 1856, Washington had gained his freedom during the Civil War. Afterward, he worked his way through school and became a respected educator. He was especially famous as the founder of the Tuskegee Institute, an all-black school of higher learning in Alabama. In 1901, he published his autobiography, Up From Slavery. In the book, Washington urged the members of his race to work hard, save money, and improve themselves through education. He opposed public protest against racial intolerance. Oh, excuse me. Because he believed they would increase hostilities between blacks and whites. Eventually, Washington believed blacks would be fully accepted by whites and would share equally in the benefits of American society. Washington's ideas had a profound effect on Garvey's thinking. After reading Up From Slavery, he realized he had found his purpose in life. My doom, if I may so call it, of being a race leader dawned on me. He recalled later. The book prompted him to ask many disturbing questions. Where is the black man's government? Where is his president, his countrymen, and his country and his ambassador, his army, his navy, his men of big affairs? He promised himself that he would win those things for his people. Filled with great dreams, Garvey made a resolution. I was determined that the black man would not continue to be kicked about by all the other races and nations of the world. I could not remain in London anymore. My brain was afire. So her brain was on fire, right? Where'd it go? He packed his bags and took passage on a ship for Jamaica. Garvey arrived home on July 15, 1914, and immediately began to contact people whom he had worked with in the past. 17 days later, he formed the Universal Negro Improvement and Conservation Association and African Communities League. The association's title was soon shortened, and it became known as the UNIA. Garvey was appointed president and traveling commissioner, chief recruiter of the Kingston-based organization. Among the UNIA's officers was Amy Ashwood, a young woman who would serve for many years as Garvey's secretary. And we'll pick up there tomorrow, right? Reading more about Amy Garvey. That's the one. Oh, well, might have been two of those. It's hard to say. We have to really pay attention with this one. When it comes to Garvey's wives, he was a serial groom. Serial groom. Yep, definitely. The serial groom. All right. So, we're at the end of our session. And as you already know, I ain't messing around because I don't like to clown, but I do like to do my thing all over town. And I'm going to make sure I leave you without a frown. So all you little children out there right now, let me hear you. Go ahead, take your little head and put it on your little pillow, on your little bed. Close your eyes and wait on that sun to rise. And when you feel those good old sunbeams beaming down on your eyes, you'll know that it's time for you to rise and shine, oh chillin' of mine. And that's how we do it. Now for you adults, I'm just going to give you some straight talk. But I don't want you to balk. I don't want you to walk unless you're going to walk over and go ahead and make that monthly donation you know you need to make. Because I've been giving up all the good stuff for free for months. More than a year, going on 2 years now. So, what do we need you to do? Go ahead and give us a like if you're watching on that Facebook, a thumbs up if you're watching on that tube. And then go ahead and make a donation to Black Facts at blakfacts.org. That's where you can make a donation, not to me, but to us. You doing it for yourself. You're not doing it for me, because all the monies we get, we take to purchase books like these so that we have material to read from. So instead of you having to go out and pay $20 for each book, you put in $5 a month, and that's like a membership fee. This is a club, an exclusive club that we've invited you to. So go ahead and pay what you due. You might as well, because guess what? In the end, it's going to be real good for you and to you. It will never leave you feeling blue or looking kind of through. So go ahead, do it to it while you can, because it's all part of our overall plan. That's right. We don't have no master plan here. We'll leave that for the masters, because we're the master blaster. And I'll let you figure out what that means. In the meanwhile, let's go ahead and do our transition to our exit, to our extra. Peace out without a doubt. We'll be black tomorrow at high noon. See you then. Peace out now.